Today I'm going to be working on a Jeep Wrangler. This is a 1995. It's a little four-cylinder. Picked it up a few years ago on Craigslist. It's bogging a little bit, so today I'm going to change the air filter and change out the spark plugs. So there's 4 of them, and I'll show you how I do all that right now. Alright, so this is a look under the hood. Not too dirty, but I could probably use a good cleaning here. The air filter is going to be located right here, and we'll get to that in a second. There's a couple of clips that you got to open to get in there, and not too bad. In this car, it's pretty easy to get to, but there's going to be 4 spark plugs that we're going to pull. So I'm going to just try and point to them for you real quick. So the first one is right here. Second one is right underneath there. So I'm going to pull that cable out. And the third and fourth, there's one right underneath there. I think you can see that. And then the last one is in the back right there. So you can, if you're going to pull them all at the same time, you can put tape around each one and do 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to do it one at a time, and I'll show you what I need to do that. Okay, and to access your air filter, there are a couple of clips, and I'll show you how to open those up right now. One here. One right here, another one right here, and right here. I think there might be one in the back. Yep. Once you've got all those open, it's pretty easy to lift that up, and you can take your old air filter out. That's my old one. This one's about 5 years old, so it's pretty dirty. So it's a good time to change this one. Okay, so here's the air filter that I picked up at O'Reilly's. I'll give you a shot of the part number there, MGA 46123. I may put a list of these parts on the link. Okay, so depending on where you live, I would take a look inside that air box, and mine was pretty dusty. This vehicle used to be out in Colorado, so I gave it a good wipe down. I like to use, I didn't want to introduce any waxes or solvents in there like a pledge, so I just used some simple glass cleaner. Just wiped out the whole box and you know, the intake, and so now we'll just stick that new one in there. Okay, just make sure to snap all those clips back in place. And your new air filter is in. All right, let's get started on those plugs. Okay, so here is a list of all the tools that you're going to need. This is a 4-cylinder, so I did get 4 spark plugs. The original spark plug, this was a Champion, and let's see if you can see it. This is a RC12 LYC, which is a copper spark plug. I am gonna spend an extra $1 and just get platinum. So you have to check the gap of all your plugs. They usually come preset or pre-gapped, but everything I read 0.035 is what I'm looking for. A lot of times these actually come 0.05, so we'll check every gap on the new spark plug. Also want a little bit of silicone grease to put on the connector before you put the wires back on. Just keeps corrosion out and just keeps everything nice and watertight. And again, I am using a 5/8 deep socket, and I've got a 6-inch extension to help me get in there. All right, so let's get started. Okay, I'm going to do these one at a time, and I'm going to take the front one out first. So first thing I'm going to do is pull off that wire. That came off pretty nicely. And now I'll get my driver out. Probably easier to go around the other side. And these should be in pretty, just snug. You don't want to over tighten the spark plug. If you snap it, that is a real pain extracting. Okay. First one's out, pretty easy. All right, so this is the first spark plug I pulled, and I'm actually pretty surprised. This one has a gap. This one's almost 0.055, so I'm kind of excited because I might get a little boost in burn acceleration with the new plugs. I am going for a 0.035. I am going to check every spark plug. Okay, so here's my first plug I'm going to drop in again. So this is the Champion 3412 Platinum Core, which is what I'm going with. And again, I am checking the gap on all of them. And to check that, you slide it down. This one's at about 0.040, so that's a little taller than I want. So to adjust that, you just kind of use this thick end, and you're just going to push in gently. And then go ahead and check it. And I'm still just a little bit more than I want. That's probably too much. Yep, that's too much. So if you go over, just so if you haven't used one of these before, this is how you put it in the hole and just stretch it a little bit to get it to go up. Yeah, a little too high again. Push it in gently and then check it. And again, 0.035, still a little too high. Still too high. Just a little bit at a time. That's pretty good right there. Okay. All right, so let's get that home. Once you get it in, you want to be careful not to cross thread it. So I'm just gonna back it up. There we go. Nice and snug. And again, you don't want to over tighten your plugs. So just get it nice and snug. All right. Last thing we're going to do is just put a little bit of silicone grease on the tip of that. Okay. And where did my wire go? That's it right there. Okay. There we go. And it should pop right back in. And that is the first one. All right, I'm going to show you one more. So again, this is the second one. So first I'm going to pull that cover off. Expose the spark plug. Get that in there. A little easier to go from this side. Just break it loose. That's perfect. These aren't too tight. Nice and snug. And I'll bring it out with this one. Okay. A lot of oxidation, but it was firing. And let's just check the gap on this one. So put in the small side first, start sliding it. Wow, okay, we're above 0.05. So yeah, these are I got a pretty big gap on my old spark plugs, these RC12 LYCs, but again, I'm going for 35 thousandths. Okay, so the gap on the second one, the new one, was right at 035, so I can go ahead and stick this one back in. I did put a little bit of that silicone grease on here already, and we can put that one back in. Do the same thing. I'm going to use the extension to help me, and I'm going to reverse it until I get it in the right spot, and then twist it in. Okay. And again, I'll use the wrench just to make it snug. And put. And you hear it click when it snaps onto the tip. All right, I'm gonna do the last two off camera, but I've showed you how I pull them out. Check the gap, set it to 0.035, put a little silicone grease on the connector, and then put the last two in hand tight. All right, I've got the other two spark plugs in. I'm done with this project, but before you ever wrap up, one of the things you want to do is you want to go through everything, make sure all your tools are out of your engine, and make sure that you did put everything back. So the first thing I'm going to do is check the air filter and just make sure all my clips are nice and tight, which they are. Get anything off the engine you're not using. I'm going to go and check each spark plug, make sure all my connections are tight, which they are. All right. We are all done. I did notice that my valve cover is leaking a little bit of oil, so maybe in another video I'll swap out that gasket. So, all right, I'm gonna give it a spin, see how she drives.